I'm Daphne. Welcome to my tutorial for this block in my textured sampler blanket design. If you don't yet have the pattern book for the textured sampler blanket, get the free download. Instructions to get your download are given at the end of this video. Also, there are tutorial videos for all the knitting stitches used in the textured sampler on my YouTube channel. Here we are ready to start block G. I have my 2 pages of instructions, pages 26 and 27, and I have my 3rd page for when I get to the scalloped squares along with the rick-rack rib. Remember, I'm not showing you how to do these stitches. You'll find that on our website. Check out the video tutorials on our website. They demonstrate the stitches, so rick-rack rib, bobbles, scallop squares, garter stitch diamonds. You get a demonstration on how to do them. Also, you can download the pattern in bigger writing. And remember, this is to show you how to put them together. When casting on using 2 colours, make a nice neat edge by looping the 2nd colour around the 1st. Not the tail, that's the leftover bit. It needs to loop around the working part of the yarn. Okay. One, 5. Now, let's just neaten up that gap. Just gently pull it up. There we are. Neat and ship-shape. I have already completed part of the rick-rack rib and all of the bobbles. I'm now adding the 3rd colour for the squares, and I have to increase one in this row, so I'm going to do it the way I've done it before by knitting into the back of that stitch there. The back and 1 row down, and then knit the stitch. And continue to the end of the row. I've just finished row 1 of the scallop squares along with the rick-rack rib. So I'll mark those off as finished, and yes, I increased 1. I have just knitted row 10 of the scalloped squares. Row 10, so now I have to turn. I've turned, I'm going to knit back again along the scallop squares. I cross these over so there won't be a hole, and I go back, and this is row 1, which is a knit row. Finished the row 1. Now when I turn round to come back, it'll be row 2 of scallop squares and row 2 of rick-rack. And when we're back doing just straight knitting until we get to row 10, and we turn again, do row 1, turn, and so on. I have finished the scalloped squares, so now I will begin the garter stitch diamonds. Remember, we need to decrease 2 stitches in the 1st row of the garter stitch diamonds. And the garter stitch diamonds, the 1st row, is a knit row, so that makes the decreasing very easy. We're also reminded here on this chart to decrease 2 in the 1st row. I always try to do the decreasing evenly on a pattern, so I have to decrease 2 in this 1st row, so I think I'll do, let's see, 2 over the top there and 2 there, so those 2 and those 2. Here is my first decreasing point in the middle of that column of pattern. Just knit 2 together. Work on to the next one. And here is the 2nd place to decrease. Just knit 2 together, and on we go to the end. And we'll mark it off on this chart. Finished row 1 of the diamond stitch, finished a rick-rack rib, and I decreased 2. Once again, this pattern has some short rows which you work in rows 8 and 9, just as you did previously. Rows 8 and 9. Remember, all slip stitches are done purlwise with the yarn at the front of the work. The front of the work is the side closest to you. Now, all the slip stitches are done on purl rows, so it'll be the wrong side of your work will be closest to you, and that's where the slip stitches are. The wrong side of your work, which will be the front of the work, the side closest to you. So we're going to slip 2 purlwise with the yarn at the front of the work. It's quite natural because then you purl 6. Then we slip another 2 and then purl another 6. I just finished row 1 of Ric Rac Rib and row 7 of the garter stitch diamonds. Now when I turn around and do row 8 of garter stitch diamonds, I won't go over to do the Ric Rac Rib. Instead I will turn. Now slip 2, so we've got to bring the yarn back to this side of the work. Slip 2, yarn to the back for the knit. There's a little bit of toing and froing with the yarn because you're slipping the purlwise, but then you're knitting. And then this is to the end of the row, slip 1. Whoops, slip 1, purl 1. Now we turn. I've crossed these over so we won't get a hole. And row 9 is a knit row. A nice easy one. Let's mark that off. I did row 8, I turned, I'm now doing row 9, that's the knit, right to the end. Then when I come back across the full piece of knitting, it'll be row 10 of the garter stitch diamonds and row 2 of the Ric Rac Rib. And here is the completed block. I used the single row of garter stitch diamonds in another block for this blanket pattern. It looks quite different when you only use a single row. Here is the original block in the original blanket. Here I have used the diamond pattern again, but just a single row of diamonds. Very effective. Just run your fingers over the completed blocks. Feel the textures, feel the warmth, and enjoy and admire your skillful knitting. Bye now.
Hi, I'm Ferg, Daphne's husband. Here are the steps to get your free download of Daphne's Textured Sampler ebook. The first step is send an email to knitwithdaphne@gmail.com and include the subject Free Download. There is no need for any content in the email, and then send the email. You will receive an automatic response to your email that includes the link to access Google Cloud. When you click the link, the Knit with Daphne folder with all the downloadable patterns will open. Double-click the Textured Sampler blanket to open and download the ebook. Enjoy knitting the Textured Sampler blanket.